Okay, so today we're gonna have some fun with some Kung Fu techniques that we can mess around with in sparring for MMA. By no means would I teach this stuff to a beginner and say, this is the only stuff I'm gonna show you and you need to try this out when you're actually doing live sparring. But if you have some experience, these are fun things to drill. So I'm here with Kevin, he's one of my best friends. And behind the camera, we got Levi Strauss, who is the only one here that doesn't like Angelo's Burgers, which is like our favorite spot. We talk about in martial arts, high percentage techniques, low percentage techniques. High percentage techniques are ones that are most likely to work, and they're techniques that you can teach somebody in a relatively easy amount of time. They can learn to apply it in a live format. So for example, if Kevin just throws a jab, defense-wise, high percentage, I could just parry it. Boom. He throws a jab, I can block it. These are more high percentage. Slipping is a little bit lower of a percentage because it requires timing. Because why? He might throw a left hook he might throw that lead hook when I slip, and boom, hits me right there. So sometimes techniques get a little bit more complicated. So with some of these Mantis techniques that I've got through going down a rabbit hole of watching a lot of like 7-star Praying Mantis videos, but also studying the techniques in Kuk Sool because we have 20 Mantis techniques. Through doing that, I've kind of found different ways we can mess around with it in more of a live format. So the first one we're going to go over, I'm going to do it from southpaw because I'm just better southpaw. So he's going to be lead foot forward right here with the southpaw. It's going to start with a trap and then a back fist, okay? So when I'm here, my rear hand is going to trap his hand down, lowering his guard, and then this right hand is going to try to back fist. He meets it with his own like cross parry, okay? So I'm here, I step in, boom, boom, okay? I can apply that same penetration step from combat sports when I'm closing that distance. I'm not a big fan of dashing and then just dragging the foot like a zombie. Also, it looks silly. So we're here, penetration step and trap, boom, boom, okay? That's the first step. Second step is I'm actually gonna swap hands. It's not super important that my bottom hand is like holding on to him. Honestly, it's just like here. What's more important is where this left hand is because I'm kind of crossing this elbow right here across his neck. From there, if Levi has it on my knee, my knee is gonna go behind him, so now I'm orthodox, and then all I do from there is just pushy. Hands up, step 1, trap. Step 2, switch. Step 3, step in. And then step 4, fall. We're going to edit out the crash pad so it looks like Kevin just fucking good stunt guy over here. Okay? So we're here and we run it a little bit faster. I'm here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay? So the key thing here, and probably the only thing you guys will be able to mess around with and incorporate in your game with sparring, is a more boring version. It's just incorporating that knee behind his leg and then the push, okay? This trapping thing that I'm doing here, you can use it as a technique itself where you could pull the guard down and hit someone in the face. I've even seen Sanchai do that in fights where he pulls the guard down, slaps him across the face. But when you're sparring with people, they're not going to typically have this reaction to cross parry because it's kind of a weird strike. But in this case, he is. Boom, boom, okay? This switch, all of the parts that I deem to be the coolest parts, you're probably not going to use. The part that you will use is this trip with the knee, okay? So that knee trip, you see that in a lot of different martial arts. And it's even here within Muay Thai. If we have like a 50-50 here, clinching, okay? Boom, he throws his knee, okay? From here, I could do that same idea where I just put my knee here and then I peel down, okay? So, bah! Main idea is just having this knee and then bumping right there with the knee. I mean, that idea of having that knee there and them tabletopping over is in so many different martial arts styles. It's a similar trip where I'll jab, he blocks, boom, boom, then I jab off to the side and then do the trip. Okay, so there's a lot of things you could do, and anytime you're learning techniques, think about the concept behind the technique as opposed to the technique itself. Because if you think, oh, I have to do the dope version Gabe did, where it traps and traps, switches and trips, then you're not going to apply it as much as if you're like, okay, what was the concept? The concept was essentially crossing his arms, okay? Which you can do off of people punching. Let's say he throws a jab. I can cross his arms here and then implementing pushes. So the other one we have is essentially 2 round blocks. So if we're just parrying, he could throw a jab cross, parry, parry, again, parry, parry. Very high percentage, easy to do. And I think that's the first thing everyone should learn when they're blocking punches. But then I can make them a little bit more circular. He could go jab cross, and I could boom, boom, okay? I can make this big circle, go ba, ba, all right? That's more of a round block. Then, if we want to make it more Kung Fu-like, we make the round block even bigger. You see those Hung Gar forms, they're like, ah! You know, Brian Lee does that one a lot. So for that idea there, boom, it's supposed to be they throw a linear attack, boom, and then you meet it with a circle. When you fight, things become smaller, so it usually only looks like this. Boom, boom, just like that. But for the sake of demo, I'll make it a little bigger. We go, ba, ba, okay? From here, I can hit the back of the wrist to the face, or I could come in and hit the groin. Our friendship's on the line if I miss, or if I go a little bit too deep in there, okay? So he goes jab, cross, slow, boom, boom, hit here, or jab, cross, ba, ba, boom, 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 boom. One more, ba, 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 and then for the lower extremities, go, boom, boom, boom. One more, boom, 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 okay? So in Kuk Sool, we call this kamachigi. I think just translates to circles, hand circles. So that's one idea. So we have that beginning trap. We have this circular kamachigi that we're using in Mantis. Then the other one we have is a hooking. This one is a lot harder with MMA gloves. And by the way, if you guys are sparring with boxing gloves, I wouldn't recommend you try most of these techniques because it involves some sort of hooking with the hand. You could probably get away with it with Thai boxing gloves, but whatever, I'm not your coach. So we're here. The next one, when he throws his cross, I step off the center line, and what I do is I hook with my hands, and I pull towards my hip here. From here, I can throw my wrist right up, or I can throw the left wrist up, okay? So he goes, I step off the line, I push him down, and then I hit. A little bit faster, boom, hit. One more, boom. Off of the jab, and I can step in, he goes, boom, and then I can trip him here. Or if I don't want to go as deep on that, he could do the jab, I can go boom, and then I can hook here and trip him, okay? The other one we're going to do, we'll do it off a cross. When he throws the cross, I'm basically parrying, and from under, I just do an out block. As I pull the hand here, I hit with the back of the wrist, okay? So he throws it, I go boom, boom, and then I hit here. The cool thing here, if I actually can catch the punch, boom, a little arm bar there too. Bah. So, once again, high percentage, low percentage techniques. I personally found that, let's say he throws a cross, he's retracting the cross, so throw it kind of a normal speed. This is one level of difficulty, this is another, he throws, this is another, he throws it again, that's another, and then that's another, and then adding a second, go, that's another level of difficulty, then adding a third is a whole nother level of difficulty, which means that you need to drill it a lot if you want to look dope and pull it off in sparring. So we're here, he throws across a little bit faster, boom, from here. We don't only have blocks to the jab where I go from the outside here, we also have ones where I go to the outside of my forearm and I go out there like an out block. Our parries aren't only just this little thing here, sometimes it's more of a circular one. Or we have more commitment off his cross, I can hook down and try to bring him down here. One thing I would recommend to anybody that is messing around with these techniques is have a plan for when something goes wrong. Even when we do a low percentage technique like slipping, the first time you do it, you're probably going to fuck up. For example, the first time I tried to slip a punch, I'm pretty sure he threw a left hook instead of a jab, and he hits. So the idea is that I'm leaning into the hook, and then it makes you never want to do this, never want to slip again. But you just kind of keep training it, and you always want to have a plan for what if you didn't do it right. That's why when I slip, I don't think of chin down, all of that stuff. I'll have my hand up just in case he throws that left hook and I slip into it, okay? So similarly, if he throws that cross and it slips off, bro, he's got this shit, okay? And that's what's coming next. So you always don't have this confidence that when they throw it, you know 100% that your plan is going to work, especially when you're trying to look like fucking Wong Fei Hong here. And when he throws, so when he has that hook, boom, you always want to have some sort of plan. What I found is that it's harder for me to time punches, looking like a fucking kung fu master, but when people do this shit, like long guards, they go like that, boom with your hand, they do that a lot of Muay Thai, that's when I'll trap and then I'll go in, okay? So we can fuck around with it with people's just hands up already. So that's kind of the basic idea. We're kind of bringing very traditional techniques, trying to add this MMA element. We can spar using MMA gloves. If our progression to being able to apply techniques is learning the technique, drilling the technique, and then doing some sort of sparring to apply it in a live format, when it comes to traditional techniques, you need to do the same thing. It's one thing, he throws as fast as he can, and I do the technique perfectly, that's great. But what if he starts adding feints? What if instead of him really sending that cross, he kind of snaps him more like a jab? These are all things that need to be dealt with when you're drilling and sparring. But anyways, fuck around with the Kung Fu techniques. We eating at Angelo's after, Levi?